love history. There's this guy named Louis Zamperini. Louis Zamperini was in World War II. And as he was in a plane that was flying over the ocean, it was shot down. And 8 of the 11 people on board passed away in the crash. And Louis and 2 other people survived, and they're on a raft in the middle of the ocean. And you kind of go, I don't know if that was the good or bad thing, right? You're stuck in the middle of the ocean. And if you're wondering if it was a good or bad thing, let me finish the details. They have no food. They have no water. And then, y'all want to guess what creature shows up? Sharks, yes. I'm telling you what, I would have started praying. Louis, the 2 other guys, fight off sharks. They catch birds, they catch fish. They're trying to survive. One of the other 2 guys passes away, so it's down to Louis and one other guy. They're at sea for 47 days. 47 days, and they finally show up at an island. And you think, man, finally, hope has arrived. Except the island is occupied by the Japanese, their enemy. And Louis, rescued off that raft, goes to the harshest prison camp the Japanese have. And he's tortured for the rest of the war. And over the time where Louis was in a raft and in the prison camps, he prays this simple prayer. He says, God, if you will get me home alive, I will seek you and I will serve you. The reality is, I think almost any of us would probably pray that prayer, right? And if we're honest, if you are being attacked by sharks, you're going to ask for some divine intervention at this point. And he prays that prayer, and you know what happens? He makes it. And he goes home. And then he becomes an alcoholic because of all the trauma he went through. He becomes so addicted to alcohol, his life is completely spiraling out of control. And someone invites him to this revival night. And Louis goes for whatever reason. And when Louis shows up at the revival, he remembers praying this prayer. God, if you'll get me home alive, I'll seek you and serve you. And that night, Louis gives his life to the Lord. He says, God, I'm going to depend on you and not myself. And Louis ends up becoming an evangelist. And if you don't know what an evangelist, that's okay. He basically goes around telling people and inviting them to follow Jesus and sharing his story. And Louis goes as far to go back to Japan and find the people who ran the prison camps and forgives them in person. And some of his captors end up becoming Christians. And the reality is, depending on how you look at Louis's situation, you could say, man, is God really someone I want to count on that lets me sit in a raft for 47 days? Man, is God really somebody I can count on if he's going to let me go to the harshest prison camp that my enemies have? Is God really somebody I want to count on? Or do you see, man, I can't believe God would allow me to be in that raft. I can't believe God would allow me to be rescued and taken to the prison camp. I can't believe God would be kind enough to rescue me from my addiction. I want to ask, who are you depending on? Who are you depending on? You may have come in today and you have been a good person for a long time. Jesus says, doesn't matter. You will not receive the kingdom of heaven unless you receive it like a child and have dependence on the Lord. You may have come in and you realize, I've been going to church a long time, but I don't really remember the last time I depended on the Lord. I kind of know the things I'm supposed to do. I can take care of myself. I'm here to tell you, whether you follow Jesus or not, it will be death by independence for us if we cannot depend on the Lord. It will be spiritual death by independence if we are not people who depend on the Lord. That goes for me, that goes for you. And I want to ask, who are you depending on today? And if the answer in your heart and your mind is you realize, I've been counting on anyone else besides the Lord, the most amazing thing can happen is you can have a moment like Louis did. Right there, right now, whether you're online, Hiawassee, here, you can say, God, I need you. God, I need you. I'm going to depend on you, God, and not myself. I'm going to receive the kingdom of heaven like a child and go, I don't understand everything that's happening. I don't even agree with everything that's happening. But God, I depend on you.